Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Topping our newscast, pre-swearing-in activities began this weekend for the 31st legislature, but today, the members of the legislature took the oath of office in a swearing-in ceremony at the David Monsanto Bandstand in Emancipation Garden, St. Thomas. The organization of the body was also held in the Earl B. Otley Legislative Hall. The 31st legislature was officially sworn in a ceremony at Emancipation Garden on Monday. Senators reaffirmed their obligation to the territory and United States before shaking hands and taking the ceremonial march from Emancipation Garden to the legislative building.
Pursuant to Title 18, Chapter 3, Section 47, as Supervisor of Elections, I do hereby certify that on November 15, 2014, all duties relative to the certification of the results of the general election of November 4, 2014 was completed, and it has been determined by all valid votes cast that the following persons have been elected to the members of the 31st Legislature of the Virgin Islands.
Do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States applicable to the Virgin Islands and the laws of the Virgin Islands, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of Senator of the 31st Legislature of the United States Virgin Islands with fidelity.
Prior to the 31st Legislature's first session, several senators made it clear what majority's focus will be.
We have a new administration, a new delegate to Congress, and a new 31st legislature with capable and ready senators that can do the work at hand. We must put aside our differences and come together and do everything possible within our power to affect positive change.
I make a commitment once more to the people of St. Croix that I will be a fierce advocate, that when the roll is called on measures that are for St. Croix, that you can count on this senator voting yes.
All of us in this body, the Virgin Islands has been going through a lot of tough times. Even our people, we show so much disdain and hatred for ourselves. It's time for us to start to look to love each other. It happens all about there, but sometimes part of that creates the animosity even in this body.
As I look forward to the next 2 years, I am well aware of the many challenges that we face in the territory, but I also see opportunities. Opportunities for us to make meaningful changes to how we prioritize and conduct business throughout the territory. Opportunities to improve the lives of all of the people, and opportunities to create a bright future for all who call these islands home.
Now, on Sunday, January 11th, a pre-swearing-in church service was held at the Memorial Moravian Church on St. Thomas. Activities then moved to St. John, where there was a pre-swearing-in meet and greet at the Franklin Powell Park in Cruz Bay. Former Governor Charles Turnbull made a presentation. A mini concert was also held featuring Gilchrist Sproul and Shakima Jones. Events continue on Wednesday, January 14th, with a post-swearing-in church service that is scheduled for 4 p.m. at St. Anne's Catholic Church at Estate Barron Spot, St. Croix. Well, now that the swearing-in has taken place, the proposed committee assignments, it's now official. Organization of the 31st Legislature, members of Majority Bloc will include Senators-elect Marvin A. Blyden, Gene Ford, Novell Francis Jr., Justin Harrigan Sr., Kurt Ville, and incumbent Senators Kenneth Gittins, Clifford Graham, Myron Jackson, Neville James, and Samuel Sanes. Senators Terrence Positive Nelson, Narida Rivera O'Reilly and Tregenza Roach will serve on the non-majority block with Senator-elect Armando Rocky Liebert. Senator Jeanette Millen Young, who will be serving her third term, will serve as Vice President of the 31st Legislature, as well as Secretary for the Intergovernmental and Territorial Affairs. Senator Myron D. Jackson, in his second term, will serve as Secretary and Liaison to the United States Department of Interior Affairs, Insular Affairs. Senator Samuel Sanes, who will be serving his fourth term, will serve as Majority Leader and Liaison to the United States Congress. Senator Kenneth Gittens, serving his second term, will serve as Liaison to the White House. Now, here are the committee assignments. Committee on Education and Workforce Development Chair, Gene Ford. Committee on Housing, Public Works and Waste Management Chair, Marvin Blyden. Committee on Culture, Historic Preservation, Youth and Recreation Chair, Myron Jackson. Committee on Rules and Judiciary Chair, Kenneth Gittens. Committee on Finance Chair, Clifford Graham. Committee on Energy and Environmental Protection Chair, Samuel Sanes. Committee on Economic Development, Agriculture and Planning Chair, Jeanette Millen Young. Committee on Health, Hospital and Human Services Chair, Kurt Violet. Committee on Veterans Affairs Chair, Justin Harrigan, and the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety and Justice Chair, Novelle Francis. Well, after Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi named her to the 46-member House Committee, Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett became the first delegate to Congress from the U.S. Virgin Islands to serve on the House Committee on Agriculture. Friday, Delegate Plaskett said she had hoped to serve on that committee as she has campaigned on the need to be able to identify and secure funding from rural grant programs to assist in the growth of the local fishing and farming industry in the territory. Membership to the Committee on Agriculture is now among the key committees in the U.S. House of Representatives. Subcommittees to the House Committee on Agriculture include Conservation, Energy, and Forestry and Poultry. Well, the State of the Territory would have been scheduled to take place today at the first legislative session as required by law. However, with the 31st legislature just being sworn in, the annual address is being postponed. Governor Kenneth Mapp will give that State of the Territory address on Monday, January 26, before a formal session of the 31st legislature. Be sure to tune in to CBS TV2 at 7 p.m. We will air the address live at the legislature. President Obama's State of the Union address, meanwhile, will be on January 20th. Now, Governor Mapp will be naming additional cabinet members on Wednesday. Be sure to count on 2 to keep you updated. Well, in other news, a helicopter crashed Saturday morning in waters near Puerto Rico's capital, killing at least one person near the coastal community of Catano. Authorities said the pilot died in the Robinson helicopter that belonged to Vertical Solutions, a local tour and charter company. The helicopter apparently was being used as part of a training exercise when it crashed. According to reports, the deceased is 59-year-old Javier Acosta Rosa of Bayamon. FAA officials recovered the helicopter from the water. The Catano ferry crosses the San Juan Bay and is popular with tourists and locals alike when they seek to travel between historic Old San Juan and the Bacardi rum factory in Catano. Turn our attention overseas. Here's a wrap of what's happening. Indonesian investigators now have one of the 2 black boxes from AirAsia Flight 8501, signaling the first major breakthrough in determining what caused the plane to crash into the Java Sea 15 days ago. Also, with the terror alert in France at its highest, world leaders from more than 40 countries stood with millions of people in Paris yesterday, vowing not to give in to fear. Many countries sent their top leaders to the Paris March, but neither President Obama nor Vice President Joe Biden attended. Attorney General Eric Holder took part in counterterrorism meetings in Paris. Meanwhile, as we mentioned, President Obama prepares for the State of the Union address on January 20th. Keeping our eye on the economy, the revamped Ford F-150 has been named the North American Truck of the Year at the North American International Auto Show. The car of the year is Volkswagen Golf. Well, here's the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P all down. The Dow 96, Nasdaq 39, S&P 16. Well, coming up on News 2. Some sad news to report. A 16-year-old boy is dead and several other people injured after a single car crash this past weekend on St. John. We'll have details. Meanwhile, family members, friends, and supporters keep the light shining as they pray for her return. Akila Charleswell is remembered during a candlelight vigil. We'll be right back. Some sad news. A 16-year-old boy is dead and several other people injured after a single car crash this past weekend on St. John. Police have identified the minor as Elvis Smith Jr. and say there were 4 other males inside the car. Investigators say the driver was a 26-year-old man and he was driving east on Centerline Road when the vehicle ran off the road and hit a utility pole. The 3 passengers in the back had to be extricated from the vehicle and suffered serious injuries. Smith was in the rear. The driver and front passenger were not injured. Well, meanwhile, Education Commissioner Designee Dr. Sharon McCollum has arranged grief counseling for the students, staff, and family members of Ivana Udokan High School on St. Thomas and Julius Sprouse School on St. John following the tragic automobile accident on St. John. Among the survivors is a 10th grade student at the Ivana Udokan High School who sustained serious injury and has been transferred to a mainland medical facility. Counseling will be available by appointments throughout the week for all students, staff, and family members, according to officials at the Department of Education. You may remember the name Akila Charleswell, the 26-year-old woman who went missing in 2009. To date, she has not been found, but family members, friends, and supporters keep the light shining as they pray for her return. On Saturday afternoon, they held a walk that began at the Savannah basketball court and headed to the Emancipation Garden, where a ceremony and the lighting of candles was held. The family also honored St. Thomas Rescue for their assistance with the search. Charleswell never came home after a night out on the east end of St. Thomas. She was last seen at Fat Boy's Bar on Wednesday, August 12, 2009. Police have been investigating her disappearance ever since. First responders are getting Ebola response training this week. Vitima is hosting the all-day classes that will take place Monday and Tuesday on St. Thomas, so one started today, and Thursday and Friday on St. Croix. Instructors from FEMA's Center for Domestic Preparedness are in the territory to conduct these special exercises. First responders are learning how much is the appropriate level of personal protective equipment to wear. They will also learn how to put on and take off the gear, as well as the proper decontamination procedures when faced with a potential Ebola case. The price for gas at Hovenza's fuel rack is holding steady. The wholesale cost for regular gas remains unchanged at $3.42 per gallon for retail station owners. Premium gas is $3.72 per gallon, while the cost for diesel has also stayed the same at $3.46 per gallon. All prices include the 14-cent tax per gallon Hovenza collects for the government. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.